Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Your Football Show. It is Thursday, the 25th of August, and it's time for another latest Leeds United update. Before we get into it, as is always the case, please smash a like, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course, hit that notification bell. And make sure you hit that notification bell because I will be live instantly after Jesse Marsch's press conference, which kicks off at 1:30 today. So if you want to join me for that and get your thoughts on the presser, then please do hit the notification bell. But today, now, we are going to be talking about the potential arrival and maybe departure of one of our wingers. Could it be that these are the dominoes that Jesse was talking about and they may be about to fall? Let's see.
I don't think I do it.
Arsenal started like house on fire. Signing number 2 for this new era. It's Judgment Day, people. Yeah! What did your boy tell you? It was never in doubt. Never in doubt. Don't believe in any love, I believe I'm self-made, yeah. And look, today, folks, we are going to be talking about current Wolverhampton Wanderers player Hwang Hee-Chan. Previously worked with Jesse Marsch whilst at Salzburg and Leipzig for a period of time. He was on loan at Wolves last season, however, signed a 4-year contract with the club in January. But there is noises that Wolves would be willing to listen to offers for him. And from a Leeds United perspective, we're hearing and reading that Jesse Marsch is very, very big on Hwang Hee-Chan. They have a very good history together. And we know, just check the weekend's result, just check the start of the season, that these players that have worked with Jesse before, even if they have struggled in their previous clubs when he's left or they've not been in the best run of form, when they get back under Jesse, the only way is up, baby. That's all I can say, because I know, look at Tyler Adams, a number of different players that maybe some of us were a little bit sceptical about. They look reborn under Jesse. Anyone that's ever worked with him, from, you know, the likes of Mike Grella all the way up to Erling Haaland, only ever speaks well of the man. Look, I can understand that maybe Leeds United fans may look at Hwang's numbers and think, meh, this transfer's a bit meh. Look, he played 30 times last season, 20 of them being starts, and only had a return of 5 goals and 1 assist. He hasn't actually scored for Wolves now for 17 games. I think the last time he found the back of the net was back in February against Arsenal. But the eye test tells you that Hwang is a decent footballer. Hwang is a decent footballer and would improve the squad of Leeds United. You know, the eye test tells you that. He is a good player. He does play centre forward. Leeds United need a centre forward. I mean, we'll hear later on in the press conference how bad Bamford's injury is, but Rennie Mark did the post-match after the Barnsley win last night saying, yeah, we don't know what's happening with Bamford. So we need cover there. Not only that, he can also play off the left and off the right. So if these dominoes are about to fall, and we'll touch on Dan James, if he were to move to Spurs, you can have Hwang also cover his positions as well, as he can play anywhere across the front three. Look, his current market value is around about £14 million. I don't think he would cost a lot of money for Leeds United, and I'm not sure if Bruno Lage is now sold on him, and we know that his minutes now maybe even more sparse at Wolves because they've just signed Guedes, and he looked really, really good at the weekend against Spurs. But what I will say, just because, you know, one manager's not too keen on him or isn't playing a lot doesn't necessarily mean that he's a bad player. We've seen that in recent times with Che Adams. You know, there was noise that they wanted to get rid. Why are we going to take a Spurs player if the manager's not keen on him, etc., etc.? And look now, he's scored 3 in 2 and he's been in hot form. You know, so try to take that out of it, okay? Because we have seen players come into our football club under the tutelage of Marsch and they've just got better. Right, in the short space of time. There was a lot of disrespect, you could say, towards the signing of Tyler Adams, and look how that's turned out so far. And the big thing here is Jesse Marsch, right? Because as I said right at the start of the video, these two have a history together. You know, and whenever he's worked with Marsch, he's been pretty deadly. You know, Marsch was back at Salzburg back in 2019 when they had a front three of Haaland, Minamino, and Hwang Hee-Chan. And during that season, guys, he got 11 goals and 12 assists. Mad numbers when he was smashing it at Salzburg. 11 goals and 12 assists, and also got returns in the Champions League. He then moved to Leipzig for a short period of time, and obviously Jesse made that move, and in that time he only got 1 assist, but he was only there for a handful of games before he then moved to Wolves. So for me, I'm excited by the prospect. When I actually looked at the numbers, I was quite surprised how low his numbers were, and I've read into it a little bit, and maybe Wolves are saying, yeah, take him. He's not been very profitable in front of goal, but everything else is decent, of course. And I know people will say, well, we need goals. We need, what we've got to remember, it's very difficult to score in the Premier League, right? We've seen that, yeah. 10 goals, 8 goals, it's a decent return. And we're sharing the goals around this season. And that's what we need to do. And if Hwang can come in and have a profitable time at Leeds United, like he did with Marsh previously, as I say, 11 goals and 12 assists is mad numbers. And look, Jesse spoke on dominoes waiting to fall. And maybe them dominoes are Wolves signing Guedes, signing Mateus Nunes, maybe looking for another striker. Or could it be that Leeds United may need to sell in order to buy, right? A lot of people disagree with that sentiment, and I might be wrong, but they talk about the CDK money, but that money was set aside for me for someone who is just, worth that investment regardless, because you're going to be able to make money on him, and also he's going to improve the side astronomically. Look, Hwang improved the squad overall for me. If I'm being honest, I would rather we keep James and bring in Hwang, because he can, Bamford's broke. We need someone just in case Rodrigo gets a knock. Joffrey didn't look the best against Barnsley. I'm not sure I'm ready for him to be leading the line in the Premier League. Shoot me down, but it is what it is. So I'd like to see us keep James and I'm bringing Hwang if we can get him for around 15 to 20 million every day of the week for me. I think he's a very, very good footballer, can play this way, has played in the Premier League and scored goals, although not a massive amount. But let's not forget, he started like a house on fire at Wolves and they signed him on a 4-year contract in January. It's just not worked since that point, yeah? Maybe there's issues at the club. I was reading earlier on that during the time when he was being played, there were Wolves fans speaking out, why is he being played? And some of the actual Wolverhampton Wanderers players were liking them tweets. There's a big Portuguese contingent there. Maybe it's just not worked out for him. And Jesse can offer him a route back to that form and another Premier League squad. So for me, I'd take him. And if you were to ask me, would I take him over Dan James? I would. That's just my personal preference, okay? Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Look, we know that Dan James is being targeted as a potential replacement for Brian Gill, who's on his way to Spanish side Valencia on loan. Maybe that move happens and then they need someone else to help cover that front three, especially with them in the Champions League. Look, Dan James, I know a lot of people will have a go at me and say he's been played out of position, etc., but I'm not too sure on his output. Although he was involved in 9 goals last season. So he was involved more than what Hwang was. He scored 4 goals and created 5 for Leeds United. So maybe I am being a little bit harsh on James. But the eye test tells me, in my opinion, that for me, Hwang is a better footballer than Dan James. That's just my opinion. And if Spurs are serious and are willing to pay 20 million for Dan James, I would sell him and reinvest that on Hwang Hee-Chan. Because Hwang can play anywhere across the front three, but for me, I would be more confident with Hwang leading the line, if ever that situation had to come to a rose, than Dan James. That's just my personal preference. I want to know in the comments, A, would you be on board with the signing of Hwang Hee-Chan? B, would you be happy with James leaving and Hwang Hee coming in to replace him? Or is it, no, quick swerve, leave Hwang, keep James, whatever the weather? Let me know in the comments. And listen, make sure you join me later on for the press conference reaction where maybe the question will be put to Jesse about Hwang. So I'll hopefully see you there. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in a bit. Peace out. Leeds.